Hello, thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguwele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka. Let's begin with the teaser. President Bola Tinubu announces cessation of the state of emergency in Rivers State. ECOWAS deploys observers to Guinea to monitor voting on constitutional referendum. And King Charles III welcomes President Trump on state visit to United Kingdom. President Bola Tinubu has declared an end to the state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from midnight today. A statement by the president says the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, the Deputy Governor, Ngozi Odu, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly and the Speaker, Martins Amaewule, will resume work in their offices from 18th September 2025. The President said from the intelligence available to him, there is groundswell of a new spirit of understanding, a robust readiness and potent enthusiasm on the part of all the stakeholders in Rivers State for an immediate return to democratic governance. He used the opportunity to remind the governors and the houses of assembly of all the states of the Federation to continue to appreciate that it is only in an atmosphere of peace, order, and good government that they can deliver the dividends of democracy to the people. In his second official state visit to the United Kingdom, U.S. President Donald Trump was given a befitting welcome by King Charles III at Windsor with a carriage procession and guard of honor. Kolo Mohammed reports.
Into Windsor on Marine One and was greeted off the helicopter by the Prince and Princess of Wales. Thereafter, the U.S. President King Charles III shared one coach, while the U.S. First Lady and Queen Camilla followed behind in another. The King and President Trump never stopped chatting while walking, riding the carriage, or simply seated. In this most formal of settings, there seemed an obvious friendliness between the President and the King. At the end of inspection of guard of honor, the pair laughed and joked with the President, saying thanks very much several times as he was led back into the days by the King. A lunch was later held with a fly past and a state banquet in honor of the U.S. President and his spouse. President Trump and King Charles III retreated into Windsor Castle for a private meeting to discuss global issues. The royals, in the company of U.S. officials, rolled through Windsor Castle. Laying of wreath at the Queen's gravesite is part of President Trump's planned engagement while in the UK. Kolo Mohammed, NTAi News.
Malawians await result of votes in the general elections, with the incumbent president and his predecessor vying for his second chance to govern the Southern African nation, battling with soaring costs and fuel shortages. Here is Kolo Mohammed again.
Electoral officials have begun counting the votes cast in Tuesday's polls. The outcome of the election is majorly expected to be determined by soaring prices of goods and services, including cost of living amidst acute fuel shortages crippling the nation's daily activities. Incumbent leader President Chikwara, after voting, said he expects a landslide victory as his leadership thus far has been people-oriented. Loopholes, however, emerged, according to analysts, in the build-up to the elections, where a considerable number of eligible voters said a change at the top was required, which is believed to be the wind beneath the wings of the campaign of the former president. Final announcement of the polls is expected on Thursday. In another news, the Judicial Commission's investigation into claims of corruption and crime syndicates in the police has commenced in Pretoria, South Africa. Former President Jacob Zuma's MK party has sought an urgent court hearing to challenge its legality. Security is expected to be tight when the now retired acting Chief Justice Bolesa Madlanga's Commission of Inquiry calls its first witness this week. Kolo Mohammed, NTAi News.
Saudi Arabia authorities have released 3 Nigerian pilgrims who were detained in Jeddah a month ago following their arrest over alleged drug trafficking. Now, this was confirmed at a press briefing in Abuja. Let's get details from Salwal Khalil Ibrahim.
3 Nigerians, Mariam Abdullahi Bahija Aminu, and Abdul Hamid Sadiq, were recently freed from detention in Saudi Arabia after 4 weeks in custody. They had been arrested on August 6th in Saudi Arabia after a syndicate operating at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, tagged their luggage with illicit drug without their knowledge. They were traveling to Jeddah for the Lesser Hajj when they were detained for alleged drug trafficking. Following complaint from the families, an investigation was launched, leading to the arrest of the drug kingpin and 3 other members of the syndicate, including airline officials. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and other government officials engaged with their Saudi counterpart to prove the innocence of the detainees and secure their release.
That following the series of engagements, one of the 3 Nigerians was released from custody on Sunday, the 14th September, and the remaining 2 on Monday, 15th September 2025, just 2 days ago. We'd like to reiterate our commitment that Nigeria will never abandon its citizens, especially when the facts clearly show that they are victims of criminal conspiracies, as in this case, as established in this case. We again assure the public of the agency's unwavering commitment to fight the scourge of substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking in the country, with no sacred cows in our enforcement duties.
The detainees are already on their way back to Nigeria. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTAi News.
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has prayed for a world filled with peace, standing firm against the provocations of war. This was when she received an audience the ambassador of the State of Qatar to Nigeria, Ali bin Ghanem Al Hadri, in her office. While reacting to recent attack in Doha, the capital of Qatar, the First Lady called for more understanding among nations of the world, noting that peace, as espoused by major religions, is close to the heart of God.
We just pray that our world will have peace, and then we can live in love as the dictates of Allah. I think, the Muslim religion faith is about peace, and the Christian faith is also the same.
The visit by the ambassador, which held mainly behind closed doors, explored how to break a new ground of partnership between the Renewed Hope Initiative and Qatar Foundation for Education, Science and Community Development in Doha, especially towards promotion of the Al-Majri system of education and addressing the challenges of out-of-school children in the country. In other news, the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Aliou Touré, in accordance with the provisions of the ECOWAS Revised Treaty of 1993, has deployed an observation mission composed of 11 experts drawn from the electoral commissions of ECOWAS member states to observe the constitutional referendum in Guinea. The experts will be deployed in the regions of Conakry, Kankan, Kindia, Mamo and Labe from 17th to 23rd September 2025. The mission will be coordinated by a technical team from the ECOWAS Commission, led by the head of the Electoral Assistance Division, who said ECOWAS is committed to accompanying the people and the government of the Republic of Guinea through the constitutional referendum in line with the ECOWAS protocols, with a view to ensuring a successful completion of the transition process. The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center is exploring deeper collaboration with the economic community of West African states to promote peace, security, climate justice and regional integration. Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports that CISLAC and its partners have presented a 2024 to 2029 strategy document as the first step towards takeoff of the partnership.
Inequality remains the reason for the crisis in West Africa that requires urgent attention. This engagement is to foster collaboration and inclusive development with the ECOWAS Commission to tackle inequality, stressing the importance of advancing human rights, social justice, thereby reducing poverty.
Both ECOWAS and Oxfam and its partners who could be amplifying the voices of the marginalized communities and promoting policies that benefit the most vulnerable households or communities. And these are issues that we could actually go deeper into trying to identify what could be done.
The issues of democratic governance is one area that we as CISLAB and Oxfam, we want to see how we can support ECOWAS to ensure that we actually have more democratic election in our country.
The ECOWAS president further encouraged civil society organizations to intensify advocacy on climate justice, noting that it is critical to addressing climate-related conflicts.
We cannot address insecurity alone. That is why we are working together. We must work together. Just a few weeks ago, ECOWAS Ministers of Defense and Ministers of Finance met here in Abuja to determine the funding modality for our counter-terrorism activities. So this shows you how much attention we are giving to peace and security. Just because you are not affected doesn't mean you are not exposed. And this is why we really need to work together.
He assured CISLAC and Oxfam of ECOWAS readiness to partner on initiatives that will promote peace, development and integration in the region. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTAi News.
Now, with a surge in solar deployment and acceptability, affordability is still a challenge in the country. The federal government is addressing these as a new deal has been signed for local production of solar equipment to cut importation. Joshua Ojito will tell us more.
Across Nigeria, solar energy is bringing light to communities once left in the dark. But most of the panels, batteries and inverters are imported, costly and subject to global price shocks. Now, the Rural Electrification Agency is changing the narrative. The plan is clear: to attract investors, partner with local manufacturers, and build capacity to produce solar panels and other components in the country. The target is to cut costs, create jobs, and strengthen Nigeria's energy security. Already, an investor has indicated interest to build a manufacturing plant with the capacity to produce 1,000 megawatt solar equipment.
We have, working with the Budget Office, the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, were able to catalyze the first round of the phase zero funding of the NTAi, which is the seed required for this localization. We are also working towards ensuring that the country has adequate talent development in country so that this manufacturing plant will utilize also Nigerian local talent to make sure that we maintain this manufacturing plant.
It is also an opportunity, and Nigeria will witness this, to create a linkage between the nation's renewables market and the capital market.
Because of partnerships like this and because of investments like this, the investments that we follow on to usher in this new electricity supply industry can be assured to be more sustainable.
Agreement signed between parties for the takeoff of the project expected to transform the energy landscape for millions still off the grid. The promise of locally made solar equipment offers more than electricity. It offers opportunities, which the Rural Electrification Agency says the journey to energy independence is just beginning. Joshua Ojito, NTAi News.
With a focus on advocacy, waste management and capacity building, the Nigerian Environmental Society says its 34th National Conference in Abuja will reinforce its mandate as a leading voice for environmental protection. Charles Alpha reports.
Addressing newsmen in Abuja, the national president, Efegbidike Okobia, said the event with the theme Sustainable Cities with Smart Solutions in Africa, the place of environmental management and social justice will reflect environmental realities and aspirations with experts from all fields of endeavors. The conference, he said, is expected to advance practical knowledge in environmental technology, design, operations and management, as well as promote earth conservation.
This year's conference will provide a strategic platform to discuss emerging environmental challenges and opportunities, renew policy and practice affecting Nigeria's environment, showcase innovations and research in environmental science and engineering, foster partnerships for climate resilience, ecosystems restoration, and circular economy development.
As it marks its 40 years of environmental stewardship at National Conference, as well as its 35th annual general meeting, the national president, NTAi BDK, called on government and the private sector to engage with the National Environmental Society as a critical partner in advancing environmental planning and implementation. Charles Alpha, NTAi News.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. The Nigerian Technical Aid Corps has deployed 18 volunteers to Liberia and Rwanda under the Technical Aid Corps scheme. Now, this is to further strengthen Nigeria's international cooperation and soft power diplomacy. Kelvin Ehunwahi reports.
12 of the volunteers are heading to Liberia and 6 to Rwanda. The Director General of NTAc, Dr. Yusuf Buba Yakub, expressed delight at their readiness to serve. He emphasized that such deployment were made possible by the visionary 4D policy agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which has elevated Nigeria's global image. He described NTAc as an instrument of soft power diplomacy created to extend Nigeria's technical expertise to fellow African, Caribbean and Pacific countries, challenging the volunteers to uphold the dignity of the country.
We have countries where our experts have invented building materials from the fiber of plantain or banana, and it is being put in use. We have countries where our experts are top leaders in their universities, like vice chancellors, deputy vice chancellor, and so it is a wonderful program that is helping extend our development to our fellow blacks, and also it is also helping to develop our own experts.
The team lead, Professor Solomon Ubu, expressed gratitude on behalf of his colleagues for being chosen out of millions of Nigerians who applied for this opportunity. He promised to make the country proud, noting that Rwanda in particular is reputed to be one of the cleanest and most hospitable countries in Africa, offering an excellent environment for success. In Abuja, Kelvin Ehunwahi, NTAi News.
The National Industrial Court, Abuja, has restrained the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, that is NUPENG, and the Direct Trucking Company Drivers Association from embarking on any industrial action, compelling other truck drivers to join. Justice Subilium Emmanuel Denjuma gave the order while adjudicating on an ex parte application before the court. The court also restrained NUPENG and others from blocking Nigerian roads or frustrating or shutting down the operations of Dangote Refinery, MRS Oil Nigeria Limited and MRS Oil and Gas Company Limited. The federal government is poised to leverage innovation, science and technology to make fresh water accessible to all Nigerians. Minister of Water, Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, re-emphasized this at the 8th Nigerian Institution of Water Engineers International Conference in Makurdi. Charles Alba reports that the theme of the conference is Sustainable Urban Water Development and Management in Nigeria. Innovation Solutions towards SDG 6.
The popular axiom, water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink, is an issue of concern to stakeholders in the water sector and to participants at the Conference of Nigerian Institution of Water Engineers International Conference. They noted in their various contributions that 97.2% of water are trapped in the ocean, which requires huge investment to make fresh water available for the people.
Adequate water supply is central to life and human development.
We shall interrogate the key issues, share experiences, and chart actionable pathways to accelerate Nigerian progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG, which is clean water and sanitation for all.
Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Telomusev, indicated that the ministry is working assiduously in compliance with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's marching order to ensure that everyone has access to safe and clean water by engaging in various water projects, working tirelessly in constructing and rehabilitating dams in all parts of the country, as well as partnering with relevant agencies to accomplish the task.
Where we are now is the process of procuring a transaction advisor for the construction of this dam. And when constructed, the dam will be used for water supply, irrigation purposes, hydropower generation, and tourism. And this will also create jobs for teeming youth.
Governor Hassan Alia, represented by the Chief of Staff, Moses NTAi, submitted that the state government has employed various strategies and technologies towards solving water scarcity in communities of the state. The water engineers at the forum are from 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. Charles Abba, NTAi News.
As Nigeria heads towards actualizing the gains of the blue economy, onboard and training of Nigerian cadets remains the priority of government. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adeboyega Oyetola, while addressing stakeholders at the Maritime Academy that was in Akwa Ibom State, said the federal government is rolling out policies to make the sector vibrant and globally competitive. Clement Barikiu reports.
Gathered here are stakeholders cutting across all subsectors of the maritime sector, including the representative of the Akwa Ibom State government. Their mission here is to discuss recent implementation of the national policy on marine and blue economy, with particular reference to onboard training opportunities for Nigeria's merchant navy cadets. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adeboyega Oyetola, in a message to the 2025 third quarter stakeholders engagement, reaffirms the federal government's commitment to ensure the country's seafarers, cadets and maritime professionals are not only globally competitive, but also well-equipped to drive the growth and sustainability of the sector.
The ministry is currently working to operationalize the new approved national policy on marine and blue economy.
The stakeholders were unanimous on the need for collaborative efforts in actualizing President Bola Tinubu's vision for the blue and marine economy.
Plans are on the way to make you have a better lease of life by the policies of government in the blue economy.
The Academy has also gone further to secure further training abroad for 2 of the professional staff in Maritime Academy of Nigeria.
Really, we have mapped out, we have looked at our strengths, we have looked at our weaknesses, we have looked at opportunities that are there, we have looked at the threats.
2 memorandums of understanding were signed to further seal deals on training and certification. Clement Barikui, NTAi News.
Ahead of the 2025 International Peace Day, Nigeria's Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution is seeking a society where every individual becomes an advocate of peace. The Institute, with the mandate of ensuring proactive conflict prevention and peace building in Nigeria, says its 25 years journey has enforced Nigeria's pride as an indivisible entity. David Ire reports.
Globally, the International Peace Day is to strengthen the ideas of harmony, promote non-violence, and cessation of hostilities by encouraging dialogue and fostering a harmonious culture among nations and people. The Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution says it will continue to deliver on its core mandate to build peace and ensure a harmonious society through dialogue and cooperation, but wants all individuals, religious bodies, and civil societies to also see it as their responsibility.
As we commemorate the International Day of Peace and celebrate IPCR's 25th anniversary, let us remember that peace is both a destination as well as a journey. It requires constant nurturing, protection, and renewal. The challenges we face are significant, and we are very much aware of that, but our collective commitment to peace needs to be stronger.
With a retrospect of its 25 years journey, the Institute says there is need for celebration.
Notable interventions include our work in farmer-herder conflict across the Middle Belt, electoral violence prevention in multiple election cycles, de-escalation of violent conflicts in Northeast and Northwest zones, mediatory interventions in conflicts, communal conflicts, and religious and ethnic tensions in various parts of the Nigerian state. Peace advocacy and policy development. Our research and advocacy efforts have significantly influenced national and regional peace policies.
The International Day of Peace comes up on the 21st of September with the theme, Act Now for a Peaceful World. In Abuja, David Ire, NTAi News.
And just before we go, let's find out how Thursday's weather will look like. And that concludes the news. Thank you for being part of it. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka.